See. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Things That Matter with me, Marty McNabb. If you are new to this, or if you're old pro and have been regularly listening, either way, you know it's not that things matter. That's not what I believe. It's the stories that get attached to them that often do. And that is why, for over a decade, I've been hosting live, in person, and virtual events, over 400 at this point, where I invite people to bring objects that they keep, things they inherit, things they even find for that matter, in the things that they surround themselves with and adorn themselves with. I invite them to bring those and share their stories. And I never have tired from listening to the stories of the things that matter. And that's why this podcast. So, without further ado, I want to introduce our guest today, Bryan Devore. Did I pronounce your
It's Devore, and it's
Devore?
interesting because originally my name it's spelled Devore, and my dad added the E because everyone called him Dever, but I do get people saying Devore, so I'm not sure which is better, with or without the E, but just it is what it is.
Okay. I love it. And I love the different pronunciations of
Yeah.
names. And probably if you were in France or in other countries, it would be, so
Yep.
anyway, welcome to
Thank you.
this episode and a little background. So Bryan and I ended up meeting through a previous guest, a guest that you've already listened to. If you have listened to episodes in the past, and it is Dr. Karen Kramer, who ended up coming on and talking about some poi balls that she has from her young life when she was 8 years old, and she's had these since that time. And anyway, when we were talking about the work of, okay, also, we can't hold on to everything. Everything can't possibly matter. And if it does, we still may not be able to hold on to it. That there needs to be a process that we go through that allows us this space, the opportunity, the thought process, the change in mind to let go of some of the stuff. And so when we had that conversation, she said, "You need to meet Bryan because Bryan," and you'll find out more about his work later in the episode, but Bryan works in this area of what do we do with all the things, and can we keep all the things when we move, when we downsize, when we age in place, or we move from our place. So anyway, I was grateful for Dr. Karen Kramer's introduction between Bryan and I, and because he's delightful, and we've had a couple of conversations on through emails, and I'm grateful to have him as my guest today. And without further ado, I'm going to give the stage over because you know what time it is. It's show and tell time, like elementary school. It's time to show the object and share the story. And here you go.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I enjoyed meeting you as well. And as it turns out, we have more than one connection, which is always great to see. So today I wanted to talk about something that has no story. And I know that it's very important to tell the stories in order for people to release the object, but they get to keep the memory of the story. And why I want to talk about this is it just shows why it's super important to tell the story. So when my grandfather passed away, my grandmother, gave things to certain people in the family, and I would say, blessed to get two baseballs that my grandfather had. And they were, should I show it or am I? Yeah, great. So here is one of them. It's an old baseball encased in plastic. It came this way. And there were two of them. Both of them were signed by multiple baseball players. So it's a team baseball from some team. Now, I grew up in Los Angeles, And I didn't recognize any of the signatures on one of the baseballs, but the other one I recognized too. Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale. So anyone who's a Dodgers fan or a baseball fan in general knows that they were both on the Dodgers in like the late 60s, I believe. So it's likely a baseball from the late 60s, signed by all the Dodger players. Um, and as a baseball fan, I loved it. And I asked her, "This is so great. How did Papa, who I called him, how did he get it?" She couldn't tell me. She did not know. And, of course, then things start going through my mind of how he could have possibly gotten it. Did someone sell it to him? Did he catch it at a baseball game and get it signed by everybody? There are so many different ways he could have gotten it. And unfortunately, I'll never have the privilege and honor of knowing what that is. The baseballs still matter to me because they were his, and so that's important to me. And we'll talk later about what I'm gonna do with it, later in my life, or after that. But I wish I had those stories. And when I go give talks to people about, downsizing and their things, I use this as an example of why it's so important to tell the stories so people can benefit and learn more about the person who gave it to them, or who left it to them. So I treasure them, and I'm going to do some more research on them a little bit. But for right now, yeah, I don't know how he got them, and I wish I did.
So important. Yeah. Yeah. It's not, uh, so I know that I've done a little clip on video before saying, things, stuff, junk, and crap. What do you call it? Um,
I like that.
and the thing is that as you know, Bryan, in the work that you do, and we'll get to that again,
Yeah.
in the work that you do, and our mutual friend Matt Paxton and his work in Hoarders and Legacy List as well.
Mhm.
Um, we the reality is if somebody dies and does not tell the stories of the things, just like your grandfather, they don't tell the stories of that. I mean, obviously, he didn't tell it to his wife because his wife didn't know it, right?
Right.
So
Right.
if we don't tell the stories, and this is what a lot of people, my kids aren't going to want this. My kids, they blah, 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 the whole thing. It's like they're not going to want thousands of photos that they don't know anybody that's in it, that are disorganized, have no plan, no curation whatsoever, both digital and physical. They don't want stuff, tons of stuff, when there's never been, nobody's taken the time to tell the stories. And
Right.
as you know, like that's the book that Matt Paxton wrote about, keep the memories, lose the stuff. There's more books like that. And realistically, what you're doing to your loved ones if you die without sharing the stories is that realistically your things will become things, stuff, junk, and crap. And the
Yeah.
best thing that they can do is pull in a dumpster and let things go. Except, like you said, this baseball, these baseballs are still important to you because they were your grandfather's. So there's still a desire to hold on to it. But needless to say, so many people, we don't have the space, we don't have the time, we don't have whatever. And if there's no story attached to it, generally speaking, it's going to, estate sale, thrift store, into the garbage. So
That's
it's,
right.
it's a sadness. So, but thank you so much for sharing that story. And my follow-up question, the same follow-up question that I have of everybody, and that is, what would you like to have happen with this thing that matters to you when you're dead and gone?
Yeah. So, to that point, like you said, the baseball is important to me because it belonged to my grandfather. I don't know why it was important to him. And so that's the missing piece. So, Unfortunately, we don't have that to start with, but I plan on giving it to my son. And my son, big baseball fan.
Oh,
He was a baseball player when he was a kid. I coached him in baseball. Some of the best years of my life. Some of the best days of my life were spent on baseball fields with him, playing with him, practicing with him. So I know baseball is important to him, and we still talk about the Padres all the time, unfortunately. And so so I did the baseballs will go to him, and I will tell him where I got them, but I just can't tell him where they came from before that, unfortunately. So at least they'll stay in the family. At least he'll have some piece of me and some piece of my grandfather with something missing, but it'll still be, I think, something important to him.
yeah, yeah. That's beautiful. That's really neat. And I'm glad that he has, he loves baseball as much. And obviously, your grandfather loved it too. You don't
Yeah,
know the whole story about it, but obviously, they were important enough for him to have them, get them, whatever, and keep them. And your grandmother passed them on to you. So that's
yeah,
wonderful. And you'll pass them on to your son. So that's
most
great.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yep, most definitely.
good memories. Good memories.
Yeah.
All right. So without further ado, I'm going to invite you back on the stage to share a little bit more about. We've been hinting throughout the episode, but let you take it
Little
away
trails.
and
Yeah.
tell a bit more to my audience of the work, the important work that you do in the world, and how they can learn more and connect and find out more about you and the what you do. So without further ado, take it away.
Absolutely. So, and thank you again for the opportunity. So I'm what's called a seniors real estate specialist. So I'm a real estate agent who specializes in working with seniors. And I like to tell people, I got licensed in real estate 22 and a half years ago. And about 8 years ago, I found out why. Because that's when I started working with seniors. And I love it. And it's a passion of mine. I like working with all my clients, but seniors built this country. They have amazing stories. I've met some incredible people who've done some amazing things. And I also understand that when I'm working with them, it's because they're selling their home that they may have been in for 20, 30, 50 years. And this is likely the most physically and emotionally challenging move that they're ever going to make. And I want to honor that process that they're going through because I know it can be difficult. And a lot of it has to do with the home. A lot of it has to do with the stuff that's in the home. And it's overwhelming for them to even think of how they're going to get started. And a lot of my clients are maybe downsizing and moving into a smaller home or maybe moving to a senior living community. And they can't take their 3,000 square foot home worth of stuff and put it into an 800 square foot apartment. Doesn't work that way. So I partner with senior move managers who will come in and help with the stuff. I can help with the home, provide them with a variety of different options, and just make the process as easy as possible. Um, and during this process of starting to work with seniors, I met a lot of amazing people and opened my eyes to the whole industry of people who serve seniors. And so I serve on the board for a local nonprofit, Elder Help, that helps seniors stay safe and independent in their own homes, which is kind of ironic. Professionally, I help them sell their homes and move, but my philanthropic work is to help them stay put. I do a weekly talk show when people come on to talk about the work they do with seniors. And then recently, I launched a new reality TV show called Senior Spaces, which basically it's like a regular reality show, but it's real people, seniors who are trying to figure out what the next chapter of their lives are going to look like. And they don't know if they should age in place, if they should maybe downsize and age in place there, or move to a senior living community. So I come in, introduce them to resources. They make their big decision of which way they're going to go, and then I show people how that's going to work. My goal with the show and with everything I do is basically education. People don't know what is available for them, what options are available, and what resources are there to help them, whichever way they choose to age. And so they don't do anything. They don't necessarily plan for it, and then crisis occurs and they're caught flat-footed. And my goal is to just educate people, seniors, their loved ones, on the different resources, the different options, so that when time does come, or even before that, if people can be more proactive, then that whole process will go much smoother and easier for everyone, a little less emotionally charged, and people can benefit, from those resources that are out there. So I love what I do. Like I said, I like working with all my clients, but seniors are special, and I'm just blessed that I'm in the position to be able to help people the way I am.
So, so yes, this is awesome. And I know from personal experience, helping my 91-year-old, now I think she was 89 when we moved her into our home, and she sold hers and then had a addition built. So it's so important to plan ahead, and I love the the, like you said, the resources um and the being proactive. I mean, needless to say, for those who are seeing, I am wearing a t-shirt that says cremation, you earned it. I went to the National Funeral Directors Association convention a couple of years ago. I was supposed to help my friend, who I am now staying with, my friend Gail Rubin, who is AKA the Doyen of Death. And she does the similar thing that, the more we know, the more resources, the more we embrace and understand uh, and not fight the path that life will take us on, whether we like it or not. I mean, we are not going. None of us are going to make it out of here alive, and
Right.
very few of us are going to be able to stay in our homes, in the same place it is until we die as well. And the other big thing, like you said, is bringing in the children, the other loved ones, to because they're you are doing a service, like for the whole thing, because it's like when somebody passes away, they're if they haven't gone through all the stuff, if they haven't shared the stories of things, then again it just creates so much more stress, so much more grief, everything, when it is left to the last minute. So it's such important work that you're doing, Bryan.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I've worked with, clients who have planned and have discussed their wishes with their loved ones. They've told the stories. And then I've seen the other side where, they haven't planned. And so now the kids are having to come in and try to figure out how they're going to deal with this, how they're going to move mom and what they're going to do with her stuff. They don't have closure. And it's an emotional emptiness, I think they feel, and they're grieving their loved ones.
Yeah.
They're grieving the fact that they're now in this position, to do this. They're grieving that loss of that relationship the way it used to be and the memories that come back with it. And it's definitely a lot more challenging. So the best gift you can give your loved ones is by finding out what's available, figuring out, how you're going to do this, getting your estate plan together, doing everything so that when that time does come, you can maintain that parent-child relationship, and they can say goodbye properly. There's closure. It's just much better. But yeah, for sure. And I love what you're doing, in kind of in your role in that, show and tell. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And I wish more people were doing that and sharing it. I think the more we can keep doing the work that we're all doing, hopefully we can turn that cruise ship that's in the middle of the ocean, or the aircraft carrier that takes so long to turn. We can get that thing turned, and more people will benefit from it.
Yeah. And it won't be so scary.
Mhm.
There's just so much fear.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
thank you. Thank you so much, Brian. I
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate. And I love that you use this story as you go around and give talks as well. And I'm looking forward to. I saw your little teaser or whatever you call it,
Oh yeah.
trailer or a sizzle reel of your show, and I think that that's wonderful because it's like it gives a different take on things and a much like lighter, like there, you don't have to fear this. Like, just face it.
Right.
It is going to be a loss. You're going to experience it as a loss.
Yeah.
Losing your hearing, which I'm doing a little bit, losing, like all of these are losses, and you have to grieve them.
Yeah.
And but it's not the end. There's, what is next? Like,
What's next?
what's next? There's a next chapter, and embrace it, and because
Yeah.
it can be really fun. It can be really cool.
It really can be. And I think it is fear that keeps people paralyzed and they do nothing. And of course, we all know doing nothing is not a plan. Um, it really doesn't work out too well for people of what I've seen. And you're
Yeah,
better off doing it when you can make the decisions for yourself. No one else is making them for you. And the reason why I did it in this format was because, I can tell people all day long, what they should do or what options are available, and they may or may not hear it. But if they see someone else like them kind of going through the same process and say, wait a second, that's me. And that's what I'm dealing with. And how did they figure that out? And I didn't know that option was available for them. Or the adult children are watching it and they say, well, my mom and dad are dealing with that. And I need to figure this stuff out, and these people can help. And there's all these resources. So by identifying with the people in the show, and they're great, and Rick and Mary are fantastic, and they really did a good job of
they did.
of displaying, what people are going through. I think people will benefit from it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I totally agree. So I'm looking forward to that. And this was such a pleasure spending more time with you, Brian. You're delightful. I hope to make it out to California and get on your
I
show.
hope so. Yep,
Take Brooklyn
absolutely.
out there. And so, in closing, I just want to say again to everyone, um, our homes are our personal museums. The things we surround ourselves with, the things we inherit, the things that are left behind for us, the things we find. These all tell bits of stories about us. I'm looking at you, Brian, with all your little things behind you.
Yeah, I have that there on purpose, so people can see all my bobbleheads and everything else. And I'm gonna have to go through all those and figure out who's getting what and what's the story behind it. I know that's happening, so I'm a perfect
Yep.
example.
It's perfect. It's perfect. And nowadays, one of the things that I was just talking to another friend about is nowadays with our the ability to have a QR code, you can share your story on your phone, on Zoom, wherever, and then you can create a QR code and like have it printed out and put it on the bottom of the bobblehead or
Yeah,
on any of the things. So that somebody who inherits it can go and watch you tell the story or listen to you telling the story, right? So there's so
yeah,
many, that's the wonderful thing about technology. And again, as we've said here, it is never about the things. It's not that the things matter. It's the connections, it's the memories connected to those things, like Brian and his grandfather and then now Brian and his son as well. Like,
yeah.
this is what it's all about. It's the connections and experiences, it's the stories of our lives. So I encourage you to look around your space, make sure you're telling your stories. All right. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you so much, Brian, for joining me. It's always,
My pleasure. Thank you.
have a great rest of your day, everyone.